What if I told you that ancient Rome didn't just build an empire? They built soldiers who could march for days without stopping, fight for hours without exhaustion, and survive situations that would break modern warriors. In the next few minutes, you'll discover secrets the Roman army used to create human machines. And if you scroll away now, you'll never know how they did it. Picture this: a young Roman recruit, barely 18, carrying a full-pack heavy armor and weapons, marching under the scorching sun for miles, yet barely breaking a sweat. How did they do it? Was it pure discipline? Or was there a hidden method that turned ordinary men into tireless warriors? The answer isn't in the battles you read about in textbooks. It's in the way Rome rewired the body and mind. The first secret was training, but not the kind you see in gyms today. Roman training was brutal, yes, but precise. Recruits didn't just run or lift. They learned to march with weighted packs in extreme heat and cold, to sleep little, and to endure hunger. Each exercise was calculated, designed to teach the body to conserve energy, adapt to stress, and ignore pain. And here's a twist you won't expect. They didn't only train the body, they trained the mind. Every drill, every formation, every forced march was a test of mental endurance. The Roman officers understood something modern science is just catching up to. The brain controls fatigue before the muscles do. By pushing soldiers to keep going when they wanted to stop, they literally reprogrammed their minds to resist exhaustion. But that's not all. The Romans had a secret weapon you probably never heard of: their diet. While other armies wasted energy on rich feasts or uncontrolled rations, Roman soldiers had carefully planned meals to maximize stamina and recovery. They ate barley, dried fruits, cheese, and even a mysterious substance called pasca, a watered-down vinegar drink that kept hydration steady and energy stable. Sounds simple, right? But combined with their training, it made them virtually unstoppable. Now imagine you're in a battle. Chaos everywhere, the enemy screaming, mud, blood, exhaustion pulling at your body. A Roman soldier trained in this way would stand firm, moving faster, hitting harder, thinking clearer than anyone else on the field. You might ask, was it only physical training and diet? No. The Romans had psychological hacks that modern athletes pay thousands to learn. They used rituals, marching songs, and even mock battles to trigger adrenaline, focus attention, and mask pain. One moment, a recruit feels exhausted. The next, the rhythm of the march, the chant of comrades, and the authority of officers push him past his limits without him even realizing. Here's a question for you. How far could you push your own body if you knew the secret to shutting down fatigue? The Romans did it every day, and that's why they won wars other armies couldn't. But there's a shocking truth most people miss. This superhuman endurance wasn't natural. It came at a cost. Many recruits broke down, minds and bodies pushed to extremes. Yet those who survived became legends, walking proof of Rome's secret formula. And here's another twist. The Romans didn't keep this method a secret for centuries by accident. Their empire thrived because endurance was more powerful than weapons alone. An army that could march farther, fight longer, and recover faster won battles before swords even clashed. You've probably wondered why modern armies can't match that. The answer: we relied too much on technology and shortcuts, while Rome mastered the human body itself. And now, here's the payoff, the ultimate secret behind their tireless soldiers. It wasn't just the marches, the food, or the mental drills alone. It was the combination of all three, orchestrated like a symphony of endurance, repeated every single day, turning ordinary young men into unstoppable machines. That's the real reason Rome conquered the known world, and why their soldiers could keep going when others collapsed. So next time you think of Roman soldiers, don't imagine shiny armor or epic battles. Imagine discipline so deep it rewired a human being, a formula so effective it made exhaustion almost impossible, a system so advanced that even modern science still studies it. And if you want to feel the tiniest taste of that power, just remember, every step, every bite, every chant they took was calculated, not for glory, not for fame, but to create men who could not get tired. And that, my friends, is the hidden engine that drove the Roman Empire. But endurance alone wasn't enough. Rome needed soldiers who could survive anything, from freezing winters to blistering deserts, from hunger to disease, from ambushes to the chaos of full-scale battle. Think about it. Modern armies carry medical supplies, GPS, and high-tech gear, but Roman soldiers had almost nothing, yet they thrived. How? The secret was in their routines and mindset. They practiced stress inoculation, exposing recruits to extreme conditions on purpose. One day they'd march through waist-deep rivers, the next across scorching plains, and sometimes they'd sleep under the stars with barely a blanket. Every hardship trained their bodies to adapt, to recover faster, to ignore pain. And here's a psychological twist. They weren't just being tough, they were being taught to love the struggle. Sounds strange, right? But Roman drills included challenges designed to trigger pride and loyalty. A soldier who completed a brutal march felt like a hero before even facing battle. That pride, that sense of purpose, pushed them farther than exhaustion ever could. Then there's the weapons training, a story in itself. Modern soldiers drill with machines and targets, but Romans trained with weighted swords, shields twice the normal size, and formations that demanded perfect coordination under fatigue. By the time a soldier faced real combat, his muscles and reflexes had memorized thousands of movements, almost as if his body fought on autopilot while his mind stayed calm. And if you think that's impressive, here's the kicker. Roman engineers designed armor and gear to enhance endurance, not slow soldiers down. Shields were perfectly balanced, swords weighted to preserve energy. Even sandals were crafted to let feet breathe and reduce fatigue. Every detail mattered. But what about fear? Every human tires, not just physically but mentally. Roman officers used fear as a tool, not a threat. They taught recruits to anticipate danger, to stay alert, and to rely on their comrades. When one soldier faltered, another stepped in seamlessly. This psychological safety net was invisible but essential. It let armies move relentlessly without collapsing from panic. Here's a question. Could you march for 20 miles after 2 hours of sleep, under hot sun, with all your gear on, knowing you'd face battle the next day? Roman soldiers did it routinely, and it became normal. Their bodies rewired, yes, but their minds became machines too. Now, let me drop a twist you won't see coming. Rome didn't just train soldiers for endurance, they trained them for pain anticipation. Researchers today call it pre-exposure therapy, but Romans did it naturally. A recruit would march, fall, scrape knees, get cuts, and learn to push through immediately, rewiring the brain to see pain not as a stop signal, but as a signal to keep going. Imagine the advantage in battle. And there's more. Rome also manipulated cell-ep cycles. Soldiers were trained to rest in short bursts, nap strategically, and recover fast. Modern science calls it polyphasic sleep. Romans called it survival. They could go for days with minimal rest without losing coordination or focus. And here's the emotional punch. Families never knew the full cost. These young men endured suffering most of us can't imagine, all for an empire thousands of miles away. Yet somehow, through this mix of diet, training, psychology, and gear, they emerged as something more than human. Soldiers who seemed unstoppable. And here's the final reveal you've been waiting for. All of these methods, Every drill, every march, every meal, every chant, every mental hack was designed to turn fear, fatigue, and weakness into fuel. Rome didn't just conquer land, they conquered human limits. Ordinary men became machines of endurance, unbreakable under conditions that would crush anyone else. So the next time you hear about Roman legions marching hundreds of miles, winning impossible battles, surviving the harshest conditions, remember, it wasn't luck. It was science, psychology, discipline, and a system so powerful that even modern armies still study it for inspiration. And if you ever wondered what it feels like to push past your own limits, imagine standing in the sandals of a Roman soldier, feeling exhaustion hit your body, fear gnaw at your mind, and then realizing you've been trained to ignore it completely. That was the secret Rome never wanted to forget, the hidden engine behind an empire that lasted centuries, and the blueprint for building soldiers who could not, and did not, get tired. But here's something most people never realize. Rome's secret wasn't just endurance or gear, it was community and identity. Every soldier belonged to a century, a cohort, a family of warriors who had trained together, suffered together, and survived together. That bond created something almost impossible to break. Even when the body screamed, the soldier would keep going because his life and the lives of his comrades depended on it. And here's a twist you won't see coming. Roman discipline included tiny, almost invisible rituals. Chants, marches, and synchronized movements that worked like hypnotic triggers, keeping soldiers in rhythm, alert, and tireless. Modern sports psychologists call this flow state, but Romans discovered it naturally, centuries before anyone even knew the word. Then there's the brutal truth. While many soldiers thrived, some didn't make it. The system weeded out the weak early. What seems cruel actually created an elite force trained to perfection, men who could endure hunger, thirst, and the chaos of battle without faltering. But here's the real mind-bender. Rome's secret endurance system wasn't written down anywhere for posterity. Most historians focused on battles, laws, and politics, missing the science of human limits hidden in everyday army life. This means that every time we read about the conquest of Gaul, Britain, or the deserts of the Middle East, the real story, the human story, remains largely untold. And now, imagine the payoff. All of these methods, from mental conditioning to physical drills, from diet to sleep hacks, from fear mastery to pain training, combined to create soldiers who seemed almost supernatural. They could march for days, fight for hours, and recover faster than anyone else. And yet, the most shocking revelation is this. The real power of Rome didn't lie in weapons or numbers. It lay in building humans who could do what no ordinary person could. Think about it. We talk about super soldiers today with fancy tech and gear, but Romans did it with food, discipline, and sheer understanding of the human body and mind. And if you want to feel the full weight of that, picture a legion crossing a freezing river at dawn. Boots soaked, armor heavy, hunger gnawing at the stomach, yet advancing, step by step, faster than any enemy could react, because their body and mind had been trained to turn suffering into unstoppable momentum. That's the hidden engine behind centuries of conquest, the reason why an empire could hold lands thousands of miles away, and the blueprint for creating humans who could defy fatigue itself. And here's the final emotional beat. Rome's soldiers weren't born different, they were made different. Through sweat, pain, strategy, and unyielding discipline, ordinary men became legends. They became the reason Rome could do what no other civilization had done before. And now, if you take one lesson from this story, let it be this. The human body, trained with purpose, conditioned with method, and strengthened by mind and community, can achieve almost impossible feats. Rome didn't just fight wars. They engineered endurance, crafted resilience, and built men who could not, and did not, get tired. That, my friends, is the hidden secret behind the unstoppable Roman legions, a secret of mind, body, and spirit that history barely whispers, but which explains how an empire rose, endured, and conquered like nothing else in human history.